Joe Rogan, he's moving over to Spotify. I just read this article here. I saw it actually a couple days ago. It's got a huge dislike to like ratio if you look at it right now. There's 23. I was one of the ones that disliked it, by the way, because it's not easy for me anymore. Like he's exclusively moving over to Spotify. He signed a deal with Spotify. Now Spotify's getting in the game, and they're going to be doing video now as well. They're testing it out on two YouTubers they recently signed. They're actually going to YouTube and skimming from YouTube, which I think is really interesting. 23,000 people disliking this video because on this video where he interviews Patton Oswalt, at the very beginning of the video, he says, "Hey, I've got an exclusive deal." Of course, I can't play that. Then I get copyright issues, blah, 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 blah. But he essentially says, "I am exclusively moving over to Spotify." So the article gives us a little bit more details. It says it's going to happen probably at the end of this year. It will only be available on Spotify and not YouTube. For Spotify users, I don't use Spotify. I don't know if you guys use Spotify. I don't know if that's something that you guys are into. I've occasionally used it. I have an account there, but I don't really use it that much. But I didn't know it was a big podcast area. Apparently it's a big podcast area. And then one of the things I was wondering is, like, do they have any video? Like, does Spotify have video? And yes, in fact, they're working on it, because that was a big deal for me. I'm like, wait a second, Joe's show is pretty much video oriented. And I was thinking, like, wait, like, how is he going to do this? Is it going to be all audio podcasts? Is he swapping over that? No, it'll be video, because they're testing it out. There was another article here saying that they've just tested it out, and that it looks like it's in the very beginning stages. It doesn't look that great, honestly. Like, from what I was looking on the picture and some of the research I did, it didn't look like some of the audio was actually syncing up to the video, which is horrible. So it's a brand new tech that Spotify's putting out. I think they'll polish it up at the end of the year once Joe hits on. I think that was probably one of the conditions. God only knows how much they signed up Joe for. He's got nearly 8 million subscribers. And it doesn't say here really how much the deal was, which was disappointing. I'm really curious to know, like, how much money he made from Spotify. The company said that Rogan last year show reached 190 million downloads, and that was basically on where it's available currently, which I want to say it's on iTunes. I'm not quite sure where he offers his podcast, but 190 million downloads. He has currently 8.4 million subscribers. I was wondering if this did any damage to his subscriber count. So I went over to Social Blade to check out, like, if the averages dropped at all. And I saw it didn't even make a dent. Here's a dude that's so popular. He tells people that he's going to switch platforms exclusively, not being on YouTube anymore, and he's still gaining subscribers on YouTube. I think this might be a bad move for Joe. Obviously the data here showing, brushing the shirt off the shoulder, or brushing the dirt off the shoulder here, but like, because I don't really see a dent. It was announced on May 18th. You can see right here, it's still 10,000 subs a day, averages 11,000 subs a day. Didn't even go down. Like, didn't even lose any YouTube subscribers from the announcement. I think, though, that it's going to be, because it's exclusive on Spotify, that you'll see probably a drop in people that listen, because I don't want to go through the extra effort. I know this sounds ridiculous, but, like, I liked it that it was on YouTube. I liked that it was, like, easy to get to. I like that I just clicked on YouTube, typed up Joe Rogan, boom, it's there. He's there, ready to go. And I can listen to whoever he's got on. And I feel like Spotify is like an additional step, and I probably will stop listening. Like, personally, I probably stopped listening. And then I started researching Spotify, and I realized that Tencent, who's this Chinese mega overlord that has their CEO, head of the CCP, is literally invested into Spotify as well. So I just took a step back, because I hate Tencent. It's so corrupt. They literally bought into, like, every corporation around the world. I did a video on the channel. You can check it out. I'll link it up in a card when I put this highlight to YouTube. And you guys can click it and see that Tencent's, like, evil. The CEO has a member, or the CEO is a member of the Chinese Communist Party. Legitimately a member. And Tencent has invested in companies all over the world, primarily gaming and communication, but they've got like investments everywhere else as well. This is not like a conspiracy type theory. This is a fact. They own shares of American companies. It should never really happen. There should be some type of regulation against that. But because we're America, apparently we're cool with it because it's money, because money and greed goes over morals and ethics. Tenfold here, and we've essentially sold ourselves off to the CCP. And Spotify is another one of those companies that did it. And then I thought, okay, how much do they own? Like, how much does Tencent own of Spotify? And then I looked it up, and they don't own that much. 9% of the company, 58% of the music division, though. 58% of the music division, and 9% of the actual stocks of the shares. And I thought to myself, wow, it's not a tiny position, considering the fact that the company themselves currently have a pretty steep market cap of $35 billion. That essentially means that Tencent has a $3.5 billion investment in Tencent right now. And once the stock got announced, once this news got announced that Joe was moving over, you can see this is on May 18th. Currently, the market isn't open. It's pre-market right now. The stock's down $1. But from May 18th, when the announcement hit, on May 18th, $160 per share. And that was on May 18th. Obviously, there had to be some insider trading prior, because you can see it was literally at 150 climbing to 160. Boom. 160 all the way up to 189. That's a pretty big move. That's a pretty damn big move. So up essentially almost 30 points. Almost 30 points since Joe announced that he was moving to Spotify. That's a huge move. And if you own the stock, by the way, I would advise that you trim a little bit of the profit right now, and then get out. It's a dangerous market right now with everything going on. So I would suggest trimming a little bit of the profit that you've made on that trade. But anyhow, so Spotify coming out with video, and they're going to be a contender. That's interesting. They're going to be a contender with YouTube and other services that offer video. I'm not quite sure if it's streaming. I don't think it said anything about streaming. It's basically like uploading videos, as far as I know, which will go hand in hand with what Joe's doing. But yeah, no information though as to like what the deal was. I'm really curious as to what you think he got down in the comments below when I put this to highlight. Let me know. But 23,000 people disliking, 23,000 people disliking this move. That's a pretty big dislike ratio for Joe, and people just not happy with it. It was a lot bigger the other day. Like the dislikes to likes were a lot larger yesterday. I think it was something initially when I saw it, it was like 8,000 dislikes to like 3,000 likes. Something. Here's some comments. Let's move to the moon, says Joe. Me, yeah. Joe says, let's move to Spotify. Me, no. Yeah, and then this guy says, I'm going to miss these comments. I don't know if you'll be able to comment. I have no idea if you'll be able to comment on the Spotify video. That's interesting. This guy says, hey, Jamie, pull up my net worth after I sign this deal. Yeah, so there it is. I think I wanted to open up with that because I just that caught me as pretty interesting stuff. Thanks for watching the vid. For those people on YouTube watching this highlight, much more on the way.